Hey y'all, it's Katie. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to check out another one of my videos. And in today's video, I wanted to do a will I buy it video, just going over some new makeup releases that I've been catching my eye. I've been wanting to talk about. It's been a while since I've done a will I buy it type of video, so let's go ahead and dive in it today and just talk about some new indie makeup releases that is turning my head, making me curious, making me tempted to buy it, and I just want to be able to chat about it with you guys. So if that sounds good to you, we're gonna keep the intro short and sweet, and let's just dive right into talking about what we came here for, the makeup. Alright, I'm just going to be using Makeup Release Radar for right now and just going to be posting pictures, not screen recording yet. Again, I'll get back to it when I have more editing time. But anyway, for today I'm just going to go to her profile and check out her new post that she shares. She is always on top of it, as is Motivate the Earth. Both of them I feel like are always on top of new releases, so I very rarely ever go over to Trend Mood because I mostly am interested in indie makeup and they're always very much on top of it. So first up, let's talk about Kylie Cosmetics. She finally revealed her Wizard of Oz collection, and I feel like Kylie has been getting really good at giving us interesting releases. Like typically in the past I feel like I was always intrigued by her packaging, but the inside was always so boring I was never tempted. But the last two times she's launched a collection, I'm like, oh, that's actually really interesting. And this palette, again, it's not super colorful. It's not like intensely vibrant and bright, but it's very pretty. It reminds me of something I would see from like Sigma, the new Sigma Alice in Wonderland palette, something like that. It definitely gives me those vibes, and it's very pretty. There's saturation, at least in the promo pictures. There's saturation in the eyeshadows. The shimmer choices that they made are really pretty. They got a little bright blue in there. They have a silver that's really pretty. And while, like I said, it's nothing super vibrant, it has some color to play around with, so I'm intrigued, and overall I think it's an intriguing color story that I'm kind of tempted to check out. All the other products in the collection is kind of an easy pass, but the palette is one I'm actually like, okay, that's pretty. And I forget what the cover looks like. I don't see the cover shown in the Makeup Release Radar post, and I don't think I see it at all. I just see the inside of what like the palette looks like. Maybe it's, okay, it's just a picture, it's just like floral and whatnot. Anyway, I still think the inside, the color story that they chose is really pretty. Definitely tempted. Not gonna pick it up though, just because I feel like I'm just inundated with palettes and there's not, I don't know, do you guys, are you interested in hearing my thoughts on Kylie Cosmetics? I think the reason I'm, kind of wanting to pass on it pretty easily is because I feel like there's not a huge interest in my viewers here on my channel and wanting to see, Kylie Cosmetics products on my channel. However, if I am wrong in that assumption, please let me know down in the comments. And if I do see that live, you would like to hear my thoughts on Kylie Cosmetics as a brand, or would like to see my thoughts specifically on this palette, that would definitely change my mind. But as it is, I don't think there's a big demand for it with my audience, and I'm inundated with palettes, as I always say, so I'm planning to pass on it. But let me know if I'm wrong. Colourpop launched a new collection, because of course they did. It's a new week, new Colourpop collection, but this is their Mariale palette. Mariale, I'm sure I mispronounced that, I'm so sorry. Is it in collaboration with, I don't think it is in collaboration with an influencer. I could be wrong on that. But anyway, their palette is called the Control Alt Glam palette. Cute. I think that's absolutely adorable. The palette itself, I feel like is a typical cool tone type of Colourpop palette. I think a lot of the shimmers, or all of the shimmers, are duochrome, so I think that aspect is really neat, and I definitely like that they're kind of stepping into duochromes. I wish they would do more in into the intense duochromes, because these look like they're more iridescent type of duochromes, like soft duochromes. That's just me and my little pet peeve. But when I actually focus on everything besides the duochromes that really grab your attention, all of the mattes, I'm not into it. There's not even a whole lot of mattes, and the mattes that they have is very neutral brown or purple, or like a mauve purple. So I don't know, I think it's cute, very pretty. The packaging for Colourpop is always so pretty. Even if I'm not really into the theme of it or not into the packaging, I can't deny that it is a pretty presentation. So of course they did a good job. The liners I'm kind of tempted on, just because I love eyeliners, winged eyeliners, but I have enough. I've been trying to talk myself out of it. So as a whole, I think this collection is cute, but all around I'm going to pass on it. Okay, so Nimya, I think is how you pronounce the brand. I'm honestly not sure, but Nikki Tutorial's brand, I think, is Nimya. But she is launching a palette. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think this is their first palette that she's launched, or maybe it is. I can't even remember what she first came out with. But I feel like this is her first big launch and release. I guess I could just take a moment to look, couldn't I? But like, I'm also on the time limit, so I'm trying not to take too much time. My internet's not working very well. I think she just did lip products and like face products before this. So I think this is her first palette. Anyway, regardless, this is the first one that I remember. So I was really curious to see what she would do, and I think she did a good job. It's overall a very neutral palette, but it has those pops of colors that kind of pull me in, and it has orange, so I think the oranges just always pull me in, and especially with the look that she has. At first off, I saw and I was like, oh my goodness, I love her eye look, and then I got really up close, and I think it's just mostly liner. Like, I don't know if she used the orange to do that liner, but it's just the like orange liner that makes her look pop and look like super orangey, and the rest of it is just like a neutral brown look, or just a very neutral soft look. And when I zoomed in and realized that, I was like, oh, here I am saying, oh, that's such a beautiful look, and I was like, maybe I want to like recreate it with another palette, and I zoomed in and I was like, oh, it's just liner work. It's very pretty, not saying it's not, but that was something funny that I realized as I was looking more closely into it. So I definitely think the orange is like distracting me in this aspect, because I see the orange and it's like, ooh, I want to buy that palette, but then I like cover the orange and look at everything else and I'm like, nah, I can pass on it. I like it. I think it's very pretty. I like the depth of the rich blue instead of just having like a black or a brown. I think that's really nice. And then there's a couple pops of different other colors, like the blue purple type of shimmer in there. The silver, I think a really good silver is very pretty. So there's some aspects that I think is very pretty in the palette, but as a whole, I'm going to be passing on it. It doesn't draw me in enough. Let me know your thoughts on the whole brand for Nimya. Let me know if this is the first palette. Like I said, I think it is, but let me know what you think about the brand as a whole. Are you interested to try the brand? I have no idea what the price point is going to be or anything like that, but there's 15 shades, 9 mattes, 6 shimmers, available November 10th at 1 p.m. EST. Makeup Release Radar always has all the info. I appreciate that so much. But for me, I'm planning to just pass on it. Natasha Denona is coming out with a new palette. This is the Retro Glam eyeshadow palette, and it is very pretty. I definitely think for like a very soft type of eyeshadow look, this is very pretty. Someone described it as like a me type of like bridal makeup, very soft, but still has that color, has that green in it that I'm always drawn to, and I can agree with that. For a very soft kind of pastel, like pastel grayed out type of eye look, I think this is pretty. And a lot of people were comparing it to a palette that Mel Thompson actually put together, and I'll go ahead and stick that here on the screen really quick, but she put this together with her own singles because she liked the mini that Natasha did. So Natasha brought, took that mini and made it into a big palette, and it does look very similar to what Mel put together, and I just think, I don't know, it just brings back memories of Mel and her videos. I didn't know her personally as a friend, but I did really enjoy her videos, and just seeing this palette come out makes me miss her so much more. Oh, and also Sydney Grace, after the Natasha Denona showed their what is it called, Retro Glam eyeshadow palette, they're actually selling what Mel put together as a set, and I think they're giving the proceeds to Mel's family, so really cool. I'll leave that link down below in the description box if you're curious, if you maybe like the Natasha Denona color story but you prefer to, I don't know, support indie, support, influencers and whatnot, or if you like single eyeshadows in general, you can check out Sydney Grace because their formula is really good. So anyway, this palette as a whole, I think it's cute, I think it's pretty, definitely doesn't tempt me, so it's an easy pass for me, and I forget how much this is going to be, $69, so not as expensive as some of our other palettes are. I forget why some are over 100 and some aren't when they're like this size, because the Circle Loco was over 100, I think. Anyway, I think it's cute, but I'm not going to be picking it up. Ooh, Kaleidos Cosmetics is launching a new face contour collection. I'm actually receiving this in PR, so I will be getting it. Do you guys want to see a dedicated video on it? I'm not sure. It's not a palette, so I can't really do a first impressions 3 looks. And also, as far as like first impressions try on, like I can only try one on my face. I mean, I guess I could try 2 if they sent me more than 1 shade, but I don't know. I'm just not sure how to put that into a video, so I figured I'd throw it in here. Let me know if it would be helpful if you guys are curious to see that, and if I get it in time. I forget when it's launching. It might already be live. Oh no, it's launching on the 14th, so if I get it in time and can put a video out before then, would that be beneficial and helpful for you guys? Let me know that down below. Oh yes, and I also wanted to talk about Give Me Glow Cosmetics. They're launching another palette. They're launching their Haunted Pumpkin eyeshadow palette, and honestly, if the theme wasn't like Haunted Pumpkin and like, the scary looking pumpkin, I probably would pick this up because I love the color story. The color story is beautiful. Hopefully little man snacking, his noises aren't too loud, but anyway, I really like it. But I'm not a big fan of the theme of it. Just personally, it's not something I want to have in my collection, so I'm not going to be picking up, but just looking at the color story, not looking at the design packaging or the imprints or whatnot, like, I really like it. I was thinking of like picking it up, and I was like, oh, I could just like, smear out the little impressions, because my kids don't like the scary pumpkins, and I could smear them out and then they wouldn't see it. But I don't know, as a whole, I was just like, if you have to work that hard to make it fit into your collection, Katie, you can just pass on it. So as much as I love the color story, I'm not going to be picking it up. I'm sure it's going to be phenomenal. The color choices she put in here is really pretty. I love this variety of colors. I love the pop of blue with all of that like specific type and hue of blue with all of these orange and brown tones. I think that's really pretty. And then the shimmer choices she put in as well, so pretty. You guys know know I love Give Me Glow's formula, so I saw this and everything about it I really liked except for the theme, which I'm not gonna get on the brand. It's totally what they wanted to do, and I always like to say, like, that's the brand's decision and not trying to knock it in my videos, but for me personally, I'm gonna be passing on it because of that. But it looks like a really pretty palette. 10 shades, 7 mattes, 3 shimmers, available on Black Friday for $45, and I think she said there might be a few more things coming out Black Friday, I forget, but I'll be keeping it on Give Me Glow. Of course, you guys know I love the brand, but this palette I'm not gonna be picking up. Ooh, also, Menagerie Cosmetics revealed their new Killer Purr palette. So I have the original Killer Purr, which is right here, and they discontinued it to reformulate the shimmers and give you, bring out a different color story. So here is the original, and then they reformulated it to make it look like this, and I really am into what the reformulation is going to look like. Like, I think it looks so pretty. I think I'm gonna pick it up just to try. I'm a little bummed that the 2 shimmer blues are really close. I'm like, why? But like, kind of keeps to the original because she had 2 like beigey shimmers in there that were so close, I remember. So I don't know, that's the only thing about this palette that I look at it and I'm like, why? But other than that, I really like the changes that she did here. I like the addition of those shimmer blues. I like the saturation in the yellow in the club, because I feel like Drought in here was a very pastel, so it didn't really stand out. The Drought, or the Cub in the new palette, just looks so saturated and so pretty. So yeah, I'm really curious. I'll probably pick it up, but let me know if you want to see a video on it, like comparing the 2 palettes, or you just want to see a video on it in general, and maybe I can pick it up at launch day. If there's not a huge interest, I'll probably just wait and pick it up whenever I do like a future order from Menagerie, maybe with a different palette. Since I already have that palette, I don't feel as rushed to get it and do a video on it, unless it would be helpful for you guys. So again, I feel like I'm asking for your guys' input on all of these releases, but let me know, do you guys want to see a video? Would it be helpful? And that's going to help decide when I purchase it, because I definitely want to pick it up. I definitely want to own it, but I'm just not sure if I need to get it at launch day or if I can wait a bit. So let me know. So bPerfect Cosmetics and Stacey Marie are teaming up again for this new Carnival palette. I don't even know which number this is, 4 or 5. It's bPerfect Cosmetics and it's their Carnival Interstellar palette. And I was really curious to see what they would do, because I feel like they've done it all. Their palettes are so big when they collab, and it's always like a rainbow palette. I'm like, how can you do it and make it unique? But I feel like they did a decent job for it being it's such a big palette. And basically it's like, kind of reminds me of a Blend Bunny rainbow palette on one side, and then a really neat, interesting, 3 rows of cool tone grays and like taupey colors, which is, I think, really cool. I'm kind of intrigued. Is it unique? Is it revolutionary? No, but it definitely, when I first saw this released and shown, I was like, okay, I could get down with that. And I've heard such good things about bPerfect Cosmetics and the Stacey Marie palettes. Literally, when I posted on my Instagram, I was like, what do you guys think? I put a poll, and it was split down the middle. And like, so many people voted, because typically I don't get like a high voting rate in my stories, but there were a lot of people voting, and it was literally 50-50. Like 24 hours later, and I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. So I decided to pass on it, since I feel like I'm inundated with palettes. I'm really busy right now, honestly, just keeping up with Kate's giving and moving and all that sort of thing, and my kids got sick on top of it. It's been a little crazy, so I was like, you know what, I'll just pass on it. However, when I said I was passing on it, I got a lot of people DMing me saying, but no, you really need to try them. Like, bPerfect is such a good quality. Like, I just can't explain how good quality their mattes are and how good their shimmers are and stuff like that. And it definitely has me going like, okay, like, I think I still want to get it, but I didn't pick it up on launch day. I do not have it coming my way, so I don't plan to pick it up, but definitely a struggle over here of like, no, I don't need it, but I kind of want it. No, I don't have time for it, but like, you guys tell me it's so amazing, so this one's so hard for me, but I am not picking it up. Let me know if you ever picked this one up. Is it your first palette from them? Have you tried all of her palettes? What do you think of the brand? Let me know down below in the comments, because I feel like I'm missing out so hardcore when it comes to bPerfect as a brand, but this collab, the collab palettes that they do with Stacey Marie, I feel like I'm missing out so bad, but it's just such a big palette. I feel like I just look at it and I'm a little too overwhelmed. I don't know. I'm passing on it. That's what I'm doing, but let me know if I'm making a mistake. Let me know your thoughts. Oh yeah, Tresluce launched a palette, and the cover is gorgeous. The cover is beautiful. The cover is stunning. The inside is not. The inside I saw and I was like, oh, that's the color story for such a beautiful cover. I don't understand it. Like, the cover is stunning. They couldn't, I wish they would have just taken like a teensy bit of inspiration from that cover and put it into the color story. The color story just seems like, it's like one of those brands that has beautiful artwork and then you open it and it's like the most bland, boring, neutral palette inside. It's not as bad. Like, I'm not saying Tresluce, this palette is as bad as that, but that's what it feels like when I look at it. It's just so unexpected to see such a beautiful cover and then to inside to like not see any correlation between the cover and the color story inside. And like, it's a pretty neutral palette. I'll give her that. Like, I think it's a pretty neutral palette. I love the warm orangey kind of tones in there, and I love the kind of warm reddish tones along with the brown, and the shimmers look really intense and beautiful. So I think it's pretty. I'm not saying it's an ugly neutral palette by far. I think it's very pretty. It's got depth, it's got lightness, it's got those in-between shades. I think it's pretty, but it just threw me for a huge loop when I opened it, and it just, like, I was not expecting that because of how beautiful the cover was looking for it to look like that on the inside. So hey, I'm sorry to dog on it for that long, but I do think it's very pretty. It's an easy pass for me. If I had 0 neutral palettes that I really loved in my collection and was wanting to get a neutral palette, I feel like this is a neutral palette I could get down with and enjoy just because the colors look so saturated. I love the orangey kind of neutrals. I just always love how that looks on my eyes. So as a whole, I feel like I would enjoy it. Even though the shimmers don't have a lot of pops of color, it still looks pretty. So anyway, overall, I think it's pretty, but I just felt a little hoodwinked by how beautiful the cover was and how different the inside looks. So I had to talk about that, but overall, it's gonna be a pass for me. Next, let's talk about the newest Jeffree Star Cosmetics launch. I like to just talk about makeup and just, you know, make a comment on the color story. So that's what we're gonna focus on this video. That he came out with the Psychedelic Circus palette, and it's a big palette. There's a lot of colors in here. It also came out with a couple lipsticks. I don't know what those are. Face setters? I don't know. Mirrors. The mirrors are cute. Everyone says the mushroom one is cute. I like the coloring. The mushroom, I don't know. I don't usually go for handheld mirrors, but I know with Jeffree Star Cosmetics, he usually does like a special uniquely shaped mirror for a lot of his collections. So I think that's cool, but let's talk about the palette, the color story. There's some aspects of this palette that really get me. I like how many mattes there are. I like how many colorful type of mattes there are. But as a whole, I feel like I look at this and I'm not really sure what to do with it. It kind of reminds me of the Escape Pod from Kaleidos Cosmetics, which is what I am actually using right now. So I looked at this and I thought about that and I was like, nah, I'm good. It was an easy pass. I feel like, I mean, I guess Psychedelic Circus, it kind of is fitting for the palette to not really have cohesion. Like, I feel like the Escape Pod at least has a cohesive type of color story that you can do. I'm feeding her right now. I forgot to do this earlier. And she's awake, so we're just popping in this video real quick to do this part. So sorry for the baby noises. I guess it makes sense for it not to make the color story not to make too much sense because it is like a Psychedelic Circus. And I think like Psychedelic is, I guess I don't know exactly the meaning of Psychedelic, but it makes me think of like broken, scattered colors everywhere. So not a whole lot of cohesiveness or like color story or harmony to it. And I guess that really does sum up this palette when you look at it, because when you see all the colors just on the palette, it's like, wow, that's a lot of colors. How am I putting this together? So when I sit here and stare at the palette and I'm like, what type of looks would I get? I don't know what I would go for, and I feel like a lot of the looks that I would go for would be something that I would get with, like I said, the Kaleidos Escape Pod. And the shimmers, what are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? I don't know, they just don't look very interesting. The shimmers swatched look a little bit better. I don't know, as a whole, I look at this palette and I'm like, wow, that's a lot of color. What do I want to do with it? And I'm like, I don't know, I'm not very inspired. So maybe it's too chaotic for me. Whatever the case is, it's an easy pass for me for the color story and the brand as a whole. I've never purchased anything from Jeffree Star, I don't think. I have a terrible memory, that's why I say that. But I don't think I've ever made a purchase from Jeffree Star Cosmetics just because of the brand owner, oftentimes the type of packaging that he does. I remember he came out with, I think, a yellow theme palette that I was like, oh, I like yellow. And then the whole theme of the collection was like, oh, never mind, I'm good. So it's one of those brands where oftentimes I can appreciate a color story, but as a whole, I've just never purchased from him and don't really have plans to. Oh, and the green palette. I really did want the green palette because that one was like a money theme, so it wasn't, I didn't mind the theme as much, but it was like right after a big controversy. And as a whole, I just feel like it's a brand I really don't want to support, so I didn't purchase anything, but it's definitely been a brand I've thought about purchasing on like Mercari or something. I just never have because obviously I got enough palettes. Right, Sophia? Yeah. But anyway, just wanted to touch on that real quick and pop this in the video because I did forget about it. And I just liked talking about color stories and, you know, type of looks and just thinking about what type of looks I would get with the palette. And for that palette, it's a little too psychedelic for me, I guess you could say. Let me know your thoughts down below. I feel like Jeffree Star Cosmetics is a very polarizing brand. So please keep the comments kind and respectful down below, but I would love to hear your thoughts. All right, so that's going to do it for me for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for, you know, checking out this video with me and talking about new makeup releases with me. Let me know your thoughts down below. Like I said, I feel like the whole video I was just talking about like, oh, let me know what you think about this. Do you want to see a video from me on this? So I'm sorry I'm asking so much information, but if you have the time, if you care to give your input, or if you feel strongly about even just one of the things I was asking about, please let me know that down below in the comments, as it just helps me shape what I prioritize when it comes to the content I put on my channel, because I can't do it all. So I definitely appreciate when you guys give me comments and just let me know where I should focus on and what is most helpful for you guys, because I know the content I like to put out might be different from the content that you would find most helpful, and I like to have a nice balance on my channel. So if you can sound off in the comments down below, that would really help me out, and I definitely do appreciate it. And yeah, that's gonna do it for me. I hope you guys are enjoying Kate's Giving. I feel like I've been like so into it, it feels a lot longer, even though like at the time of me filming this it's like day 8 and I'm like, oh Katie, you got a long way to go. But I feel like I've been gearing up for it. I've been pre-filming for so long, I feel like I should be almost near the end, but we still got a ways to go. Still doing okay. Family got sick, which threw a big wrench into it, so I'm not as ahead of schedule as I was hoping to be and as I started the month out, but that's okay. We're gonna keep going strong, and if I can make it to the end of the month without missing an upload, that'll be a miracle, but we'll see how the month goes. I hope you guys are enjoying it. But anyway, with all that said, that's gonna do it for me. I'm over on Instagram, LadyKatie92 over there, where I post reels, up close swatches, all that sort of thing. And with all that said, I'll see you guys very soon in my next video. Bye guys.